Yes, I hear you. So you want to know my thoughts on the future of FromSoft. You see, as an unemployed piss baby who bakes up from software news every day, I've been thinking a lot about the future of the company. AKA I made a masturbatory joke of listing what I want From Software to do. To explain some of my biases, I have been playing From Software games ever since the birth of Jesus Christ, especially after the arc where he shook hands with Goku. I know those credentials put me as a newbie, but hope I can still give an interesting perspective for the old heads who were there since From's first game, Enchanted Arms.
Huh? What? Where? What's going on?
The first thing I will go over is my thoughts on the three major projects announced: Elden Ring 10 FPS Edition, Elden Ring DLC Pack 2, and the Elden Bloods. Finally, I will go over some potential projects that could be interesting. I understand that there's a Sekiro anime and announced Elden Ring movie, but FromSoft is not directly developing that. The most important thing I will state is that what Miyazaki wants is more important than any of my wishes, and this is just me venting because I have no life outside of waiting for my eventual doom. Anyways, let's end this preamble and start with... Recently this project got delayed, and for the same developers who thought the PC release of Dark Souls 1 was good, this does not speak well for the performance. Honestly, I don't care much about this release, especially since Nintendo people already have plenty of Souls games, such as Kirby Epic Yarn and The Legend of Mario 64, but having such an acclaimed game such as Elden Ring wouldn't hurt. All we have confirmation for is multiple Night Pharaohs and Night Lords, but I hope there's going to be a lot more than that. Night Rain has a lot of flaws and a variety of points of interest, and there's a lack of good Day 1 and Day 2 bosses, and fighting them is as fun as fighting the Skeleton Lords or the Rat Vanguard. Like, come on, you have so much reusable assets and you use so little. I expected to be more assets from Shadow of the Erdtree, as well having more bosses from previous series. Like, if the Centipede Demon can get in, I expect bosses like the Basura, Thomas the Tank Engine, or Nine Ball to get in. And if you talk about spoilers, may I remind you that they decided to include the fucking Nightmares cat! So anyone and anything can be included. As for the Night Lords and Night Bearers, I don't really have any cool ideas, except I think playing around with raid mechanics like a Libra would be cool. I think having someone with fist weapons would be interesting, and not much else than that. I'm not a very creative person, so sue me. Miyazaki, in all of his wisdom and glory, decided to make the Switch exclusive game be a multiplayer battle royale. Clearly this is a genius move, and I expect everyone to be very happy about this decision, since people clearly like PvPvE games, and there's nothing controversial about them. The Souls PvP community are clearly very happy people who are very happy with their game's meta. To be frank, I'm okay with FromSoft messing around with multiplayer, especially since Miyazaki himself said they'll still make single-player games. FromSoft has also made PvP-focused games before with Chromehounds and Armored Core 5, so it's not like this is some new thing. I do not expect FromSoft to get into live service and make Duskbloods have 1 billion currencies and Battle Pass. Souls games are also mainly balanced around single-player, so maybe with a multiplayer focus and limited character builds, they could make something that isn't too messy. Oh, can I say one thing? Who the heck decided to include the into the title of the game? Duskbloods sounds so much cooler than saying the Duskbloods. What the fuck, Miyazaki? This is the worst decision you have made since Dead or Alive Extreme. I'm so disappointed in you. With the cliffhanger ending, the deflection to an Erdtree, the execution Night Rain, and the Sekiro anime, I would not be surprised if a sequel is coming. As for what I want from it, I have no clue. I don't really have any major flaws to Sekiro outside of some minor things that don't really matter. The director of Armored Core 6 is interested in more games, but I suspect we're not going to get a new game in some time. Maybe when the Earth blows up. I also suspect that there's not going to be any Armored Core 6 DLC, so it's going to be pretty barren for Armored Core fans. As for what I want from a sequel, I would say that while Armored Core 6 helped resurrect the series and made decisions that made it more open to people, it also simplified things in a way that was disappointing. Other people could explain it better than I could. So in general, I would just say that I think Armored Core 6 lacks some of the mercenary fantasy of previous Armored Core games. While some of that fantasy is still there, I think it is not as good. And I really hope they focus on making that fantasy stronger in the next game. Armored Core 6 was disappointing to a lot of people, but I think it also set up an excellent foundation for the future. While some things are here to stay, I think they got enough feedback to change for the better. Or it could make the fandom split even harder, like with Monster Hunter Wilds. Who knows? Kane's Beard is in a weird place. If a new game in the series comes out, there'll be a lot of unfair comparisons to Souls. However, I think there's still a lot of room for the series for a modern From Software. Let me explain. One potential is a return to slower paced exploration. Even if the next Kane's Field game remains mostly the same, there have been a lot about complaints about Elden Ring for the direction it took. By doing an open world and a more combat-heavy framework. Something like a new Kane's Field game could deliver an experience that focuses on puzzle, gimmicks, and slower exploration that these people want. Second potential would be controversial, but Kane's Field could also take a more survival route with a focus on managing supplies and hunger. While Kane's Field has never been part of the survival game genre, I think it would be a natural step to add some of these elements, like having to manage Torchlight, the ropes you have, draw your maps, etc. Other games like Abiotic Factor or Grounded can prove this works, even if some elements like base building doesn't really work for Kane's Field. Either way, this would make it different from the Souls games in an interesting way, though at this point calling it something other than Kane's Field would probably be better. The last potential is even more controversial, but VR would be a big step. Having VR could dramatically increase immersion while keeping Kane's Field first-person movement in check. With Durasne, Miyazaki has proven he's into adventure games, so having a new Equinite is still very possible. What it would be is a lot more mysterious, as the series went into space for the last game, so anything could be possible. Though I imagine it would go back to basics of a historical or more modern lens. There are still a lot of From Software games that could potentially come up, but I think I'm okay with anything they would cook, even if it's like a completely new IP. I know there's a lot of hesitation with Nightwind and Duskbloods, but I do have hope for the future, even if it's just going to be another 10 million Souls games. I trust those games are going to be at least decent. The fire still burns, for now.